Mahaganapatin Manasa Smarami Mahadeva Mudam Shirasa Namami Mahaganapatin Manasa Smarami. When can you say consciousness is not? When can you say? You can't say. And he says, suppose I am dead, Swamiji. Suppose I am dead, consciousness is. Really I am dead. Suppose I am really dead, then consciousness is gone. Consciousness is gone where? Consciousness is gone. You can no more say, Asti. Somebody else is saying anyway. Is gone, consciousness is. Is consciousness is. Is gone, consciousness is. Will not come back in the same form, consciousness is. Therefore there is ease. Understand? Therefore ease. Why? Will not come back again. That is a great ease, you know. Consciousness is. We will look into that later. So this consciousness is for the time being. Let us see after death, etc. will come more clear later. Consciousness is. So every object is because the consciousness is joins the flower. Consciousness is joins the flower. Correct. The flower thought. Then what happens? Flower consciousness is. Between that flower and the consciousness, what is the distance? Consciousness is. And there is flower consciousness. And the flower consciousness is, then only you say flower is. Really what you mean is flower consciousness is. And then flower goes, then one petal you take, and the petal consciousness is. Or you take the other side of the flower. That consciousness is. So the object keeps changing variable. And invariable is consciousness is. Between that consciousness is and the flower, what is the distance? Distance is what? Zero. Understand? Distance is zero. So drop the flower. Think of a star, a constellation, Orion. Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika. Mrigashirsha is Orion. So Mrigashirsha, that particular consciousness is. Orion consciousness is. What is the distance between the constellation and consciousness? Zero. An electron consciousness, a micro object, an electron consciousness is, what is the distance? Zero. Always. Therefore, now listen. Consciousness is. There are two words. One is, the other is consciousness. Listen to me carefully. One is, the other is consciousness. Which is an adjective to what? Okay, of the two, one should be an adjective. Consciousness is an adjective to is. Is, if you say, you will ask what? What. Correct? What is? Is. What? is what? You say consciousness. Now do you say that one is an adjective? When you say consciousness, without its revealing its existence, how can there be consciousness? Or anything for that matter? Here if you say consciousness is, it reveals its existence. Consciousness doesn't require any other consciousness to reveal. Therefore, in every revelation, the presence of consciousness is inevitable, is there. Why inevitable? There is a logical word. Is. The presence of consciousness is. I don't want logic here. Presence of consciousness is. In any revelation, the presence of consciousness is, because revealing factor is consciousness. Whatever that we mean by the word consciousness. Consciousness means we have to understand that by which you see things. A thing becomes an object of your knowledge because of what? That is what we say, consciousness. Chetanasya bhavaha chaitanyam. That is what we say, the conscious being's content is consciousness, and consciousness and is are one and the same. What is consciousness, and consciousness is. Two words are pointed out by the one thing, and that is what we say, I am. Now understand. I am. What is I? I has no meaning. Am has got a meaning, known meaning. I has an unknown meaning. Am has got a known meaning. I means I. That's all I you know. So this am has got a known meaning. What is am? Is. Am is, the first person is. Third person is. And second person what? Are. No, is. In understanding it is. Are should be understood as is. And first person also is. That one thing I know. Is I know. Now what else I have to know? I is what now? I have to give a meaning for this I. What is what? I. And what is I? Consciousness. So consciousness is I am. Now the question is, this is called teaching. People come and gas, they just to say something, this and that, and then this is teaching. Teaching means you have to see. It is you. It is just you. Not a lecture. Okay? Consciousness is. Let us look at it a little more different. This consciousness is from its own standpoint. So we know this consciousness is as object consciousness. No distance. So the no distance, let us understand this a little better. What would be the size of this consciousness? That's a nice way of asking you. What would be the size of consciousness? What would be the size? Huh? So don't give me infinite. That's an unnecessary word for me. So, what is the size of consciousness? They say that when you go deep within, there is consciousness in the heart. It's like an isotope. Flame within, People think like this. Between the eyebrows there is a flame. Do you see light there? Shishya tells, yes sir, I see light. Ah, that is divine light. You know. I say, what is the light that makes you see the light? That is the light we are talking. You are talking about the effect of bird's light, understand? And therefore, I am talking of light. So the light of all lights, Jyotir Jyotihi. And therefore, these are all just bunkam. Bunkam means every spelling, I don't know what is the real meaning of bunkam, but bunkam. Humbug. All ethereal talking. The divine light. No, not ticket. It's other. Come to the ground, okay? Bring the fellow to the earth and makes the fellow talk sense. This ethereal talking, we don't need all this. Well, therefore, what is the size? If there is a small light, then who lights up that small light? That small light becomes the object of consciousness. Therefore, that small light consciousness is. One fellow said, supra-consciousness. Okay? Supra is a concept. That concept, consciousness is. Then afterwards you can say infra. Once supra is there, infra will be there. So infra-consciousness, supra-consciousness, ultra-consciousness, whatever it is, I am talking of this simple consciousness, this consciousness because of which you have the object supra. Supra-consciousness is, ultra-consciousness is. That consciousness, what is its size, please? What is its location, please? Let us talk of location. What is its location, please? What is its location? Is it in space? Or space is object of consciousness? Huh? Space is object of consciousness, correct? Space is object of consciousness. You know, in space consciousness is sitting. In space is sitting consciousness. So space is object of consciousness. Space is not aware of me. I am aware of space. And therefore, this consciousness is not in space. It has no spatial limitation. Idhar hai, udhar nahi hai. Udhar hai, idhar nahi hai. Only when there is location. All locations are in terms of space. And the space itself is an object of consciousness. There is no question of the consciousness being located anywhere, having its own form. It's very simple. The distance between my two hands, you can guesstimate. That is an American expression. I learned in America this one important word. Not estimate, guesstimate, okay? Guesstimate. Yeah. You get some nice words here. Guesstimate. Guesstimate. 2 feet. Guesstimate. Okay. What is the distance between space and my hand? What is the distance? There is no distance. So between space and hand, what is the distance? I can take my hand anywhere. There is no distance. I can go to heaven also if it is spatial heaven. I can show the hand. There will be no distance. Understand? Between hand and space, the distance is nil. Do you know why? Because hand also is in space. In and through hand is space. Not hand is in space. In and through hand is space. This is what we say all pervasive. Oh, space is all pervasive. Space is all pervasive. Yes. Then there are two all pervasive. One is consciousness all pervasive. And then, come on. I have not told you consciousness all pervasive. Why are you jumping? Okay? Don't jump. I say space is all pervasive. But does it pervade consciousness? Huh? Consciousness pervades space. There is no distance. Now, between space, you see, think of stars. Then you have space also. So, between that space, the distance between stars and here, light years away, so vast a distance. Space and consciousness. What is the distance? What is the distance? Suppose there is a distance. So don't simply say no. Suppose there is distance. This is called reduction ad absurdum. So you create an absurd question. You ask an absurd question or a relevant question, make it absurd. Answer makes the question absurd. Now look at this. So what is the distance between consciousness and space? If space is a point, okay, which it is not, if it is a point between consciousness and space, if there is a distance, distance will be what? Space. If it is not space, I know there is lot of space here. Between consciousness and space, there is no distance. All that is there is one consciousness. Space you bring in as a concept. In other words, between your thought and consciousness, there is no distance. The object of thought also is the same. Understand? So we have to, is there then, I can understand this. Between object of thought and consciousness, there cannot be any distance because between thought and consciousness there is no distance. Thought is consciousness because top of the thought is consciousness, middle of the thought is consciousness, whole thought is consciousness. Like wave is water, top of wave is water, middle of wave is water, all of wave is water, and thought is consciousness, and therefore object thereof is also not apart from thought. And the thought, the object, its object, all pervaded by consciousness. That is understood. But what about the object outside? You know? Now I say further, object outside. Which object outside? I see the object outside, the flower. Then when you say the object outside, this object is there outside. Referential. From what it is outside, tell me. From what it is outside? From my eyes, they are outside. My eyes are here, the flower is there, therefore there's a distance. Correct. The distance is there, therefore it's outside. It's outside. That's why I can see. It's outside. True. True. Who says? It's outside. Now what is the distance between your eyes and consciousness? Eye consciousness. Correct? What is the distance between eyes and consciousness? No distance. What is the distance between eyesight and consciousness? No distance. What is the object of eyesight and consciousness distance? What distance? No? Malum ho gaya? What is outside you are talking about? It is a point of view. It is a point of view. If it is a point of view, we are talking of view. You know, point of view is a point of view only when the view is clear. When the view is not clear, every point of view is a distortion. I give an example for that. This fellow gave me painting. Then I asked him, what is this? Because after looking at it for half an hour, then I didn't make out anything. In the face of it, it is clear it is modern painting. That's very clear to me. Because I didn't see immediately something. But in modern painting, when you go on looking at it, you get different things. So it looks like monkey, afterwards you dismiss, no, it's not monkey. Oh, I think this looks like a human being. No, it's not human being. Like this, you keep on, you think there is a nose there, and afterwards it doesn't, there is nothing else is there connected, therefore nose is gone. So like this, I tried my best, nothing comes out, nothing emerges. Then I wanted some help from the artist who is there next to me. And then I asked him, hey, what is this? He said, Swami, read the small letters down below. Read the title. I read the title. Perspective of a table. Then with this table idea, you look at it, Now you have got a table idea. Now once you look at it with the idea what it is, then it really makes meaning. And so it gives some meaning. Then I look at it. Still it doesn't make it. I don't find a table any which way I look at, there is no table. Swami, it's a perspective. That's true, sir. For you it's perspective, for me it's not a perspective. It's something, it is modern, that's all. I don't know what it is. Swami, you lie down on your back, 5 feet away from the table, and then look at the table from the floor. This is how it looks. For him it is a perspective, because he knows that it is a table. For me, it's a distortion. Do you understand? It's not a table. It is a distortion. If I give this to a carpenter to make a table, do you know what I will have? I will have another modern object, another modern sculpture I will have, ready to be kept in the college campus. Whenever I go to any college campus, I see all these, all big things standing there, not giving me any sense what it is. When I ask somebody what sense does it make, that is the sense. Why it should make sense? It need not make sense. Everything need not make sense. Why? Because I exist, you exist, we exist. What sense it is? I don't want to think much about it, but what I say, so this is a point of view. Is a point of view only when the view is there. Without a view, there is no point in talking about point of view. There is no point of view, there is only distortion. The view is this. There is no distance. It itself has no form. There is no spatial limitation, much less time limitation. Time also is object of consciousness. And the time itself, if you look at it, time is the content of time, any one thing. The content of space is non-spatial. The content of anything is not that thing. Content of flower is not flower. Do you know that? You give me the little time, I will show you now. You say this is flower. What is flower? You have to say, that which has got flowerness. Don't you have to say that? Yeah. That which has flowerness is a flower. There are different types of flower, but all of them have flowerness. So, flowerness of that which has got is flower. Now, here I have got two things. One is flowerness, an attribute, and the abstract noun of flower, flowerness. This flowerness exists in a flower or a non-flower. If it exists in a flower, that flower, how did it become flower? You have to say because of flowerness. It exists in what? In a flower. A regression to infinity. But I see a flower here. Where does the flowerness exist? It should exist not in a flower, it should exist in non-flower. My God. In a non-flower, how can flowerness exist? That's called Maya. On non-flower, flowerness exists. We will come to it later. Don't worry, okay? Don't feel dizzy, okay? How can I tell you don't feel dizzy? This is a silly thing to tell. If you are dizzy, you are dizzy. That's it. I can't say don't feel dizzy. I mean, I don't want to make you dizzy. That's what I mean. Okay? The flower exists in a non-flower. You exist in a non-you. Understand? So the Jagat exists in a non-Jagat. What? What are you talking? Vedanta. Understand? Vedanta. This is all Vedanta? Yeah. What do I get out of it? You get everything out of it. We will look into the implications later. This time, if we look into time, we will see that what is the time later, when time is available. The content of time is non-time. Content of form, space, form is a non-form. Content of anything, it is not that thing. This is how it is. If you look at this is how we are going to see in the Gita. Lord Krishna tells that in a very beautiful way in different places, that there is only one thing that is there, and the differences are something beautiful, but the differences do not create any division. Differences are differences. There is no division. The subject I is also consciousness, conscious being. The object also is not separate from consciousness. Both subject and object, in dream you find this as an experience for yourself. In the dream, as you experience the objects, they seem to be different from the subject. True. There is pravritti, nivritti. You go after a few things and get away from a few things. That's all true. But that subject of the dream and the object of the dream and the dream experience itself, all of them are one jyotihi, antar jyotihi, one consciousness. You know that very well. Subject is a thought, not independent of consciousness. The knower, experiencer is a conscious being, not independent of consciousness. Sight is not independent of consciousness. Hearing is not independent of consciousness. The object of sight and object of hearing is not independent of consciousness. All that is there in dream is one consciousness. It is the same here. From consciousness standpoint, it is the same. Time-wise, space-wise, not limited, even object-wise, not limited. Therefore, Chaitanyam Akhandam. This Chaitanyam consciousness is Akhandam, undivided, one whole, Purnam Chaitanyam. This is in the second chapter itself, Lord Krishna presents this in a certain language. We will see that language also tomorrow. Mahaganapatin Manasa Smarami Mahadeva Mudam Shirasa Namami Mahaganapatin Manasa Smarami.